But yeah, thanks for joining us, East. Or do you prefer Micah? Or...
Yeah, East is
fine.
Yeah. I think most folks know either of my names, but yeah, it's like I'm not hiding either, so it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, pretty much. Like, thanks for joining us. We appreciate. I think you're one of the first people to see like the content creator article that's kind of exploded around a bit.
Yeah, about Digimon content creators. Actually, one of the people who like watch my YouTube channel and they are in my Discord, like, hey, have you seen this? Like, I was looking for new content creators and like this popped up. I'm like, no, well, what is this? It goes, there's an article featuring you. I'm like, what? Why? My little like corner of the internet. How did anybody find me?
Yeah, it was kind of interesting because I was going through it. I got given the prompt. I was like, excellent, a chance to just talk about my favorite content creators. And I was like, I've been watching your stuff a lot more recently. At first it's like, the Eastern format doesn't really like apply to me, but it's nice to kind of see what people are saying about like what to look forward to in future. And it's like, as more and more, it just became more and more of a habit. It's like, you know what? I do like East's content. And also like finding out you're like a fighting game guy when the Evo clip dropped, I was like, wait, what?
Oh yeah. Actually, my fighting game roots I played card games, I guess when I was younger, but fighting games came right after that. Actually, the only reason I got into card games was because of fighting games. Or sorry, I got that reversed. The only reason I got into fighting games was because of card games. I don't. You live in I believe the UK. I'm not trying to dox you.
Yeah, UK.
In America, when I was super young, I might be dating myself when I say this, but at bookstores, like at the mall, they would hold events for card games where kids could get together in like a safe location and like they play the game. So they did that for Pokemon, they did it for Yu-Gi-Oh, and that's where I kind of got my start. I like was walking through the bookstore one day with my mom, like, holy crap, they're playing Pokemon. Got a bunch of Pokemon cards, went there the next time, and then for years I would just do that until I got a little bit older, and my mom would just like drop me off at the mall, the bookstore basically, and she would just leave me there for like 8 hours. So it was like from like 10 to like 6 or 7, I would just be there. And so after I left the bookstore playing cards, I would just go to the arcade, play fighting games. I played Third Strike, I played CVS 2, I played Marvel, even though I was awful at it. But yeah, I run the gambit, man.
Yeah, that's sick. Yeah, I'm a fighting game guy myself. Like, I'm a little bit out of it, switching to commentary a lot more now. Like, I wasn't super into Strive. I played Nago at launch, like before they make him whack.
Come on.
I don't know. I come from air dashes, so like playing a big slow character that doesn't like has to pay 50 meter to air dash is not it.
Okay, fair. Yeah. All right. Yeah. You've changed. Yeah.
Like I started with I think KI in uni, and then I played a little bit of Dragon Ball Fighters, and then BB Tag was where I started like playing fighting games properly, seriously.
BB Tag was where you got your start?
Yeah, I know.
That game is dirty.
It's just dungeon behavior. It's so
that
fun.
Game is bro. The mix-ups in that game are wild. I don't play that game because I don't want to get hit by that stuff. Like I don't want to be on someone's highlight reel, you know?
Yeah, you get mixed 3 times or die off of like, you DP happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Susanoo Akihiko is not a real team.
I'm sorry, man.
But yeah, I think like card games I started. So did you start in SR 1.5 or I guess 1.0 in Japan? Actually, I guess that's a good question. Did you start in Japan or did you start with the English format?
I actually started in Japan. Funny story, like when the whole lockdown stuff like started, I for some reason was like, you know what, I haven't done in like a couple years, like 10 years, play a card game. So I was like, let me try to find a card game. And that was at the time where I think like the 3rd or 2nd set of Digimon was out. So I guess that would technically have popped in around what the English would consider 1.5.
Okay.
You guys got the first 3 sets as like split into 2.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, but yeah. And I basically picked it up because the game was, like brand recognition, right? Oh, I've seen Agumon before when I was a kid, and then I see it again here, so I tried it out. And also, it was dirt cheap in Japan. Like starter decks were less than $5.
Wait, really?
Yeah, started like in Japan, the Digimon card game is dirt cheap, like stupid cheap. Like I can't stress that point enough. Like one of the reasons that's so easy to pick up and play and why people like just try it out is because the barrier to entry is so low.
That's insane. Like we play in one of the more expensive stores in the UK, so like we're fighting tooth and nail out here for a booster pack. Sometimes your experience is you rock up, you're round 1 store champ, round 2 store champ, round 3 store champ on a bad day. I'm like, okay, why did I show up?
I'm sorry.
It's all right though.
Hopefully you got your hands on some good stuff. What did you hop into the game with?
I started BT8 because when I was younger, I played Vanguard. Like I played Yu-Gi-Oh for a bit, didn't really take it seriously. Played Vanguard, like kind of as that was starting, and spent so much money with my brother, and kind of like swore off card games when I went to uni and was broke. And then I think people were trying to drag me back in because like I'm a big Digimon fan, always have been. And they were like, oh, you should play Digimon, you should play Digimon. I was like, I'm not touching a card game. They put Veemon and they put Armours in the game, and I'll play, and then BT8 happened, and now I'm just down the rabbit hole.
When it happens too, DNA, Digivolve, Chimeramon, and all the other like blue, yellow, Shakomon, all that came out right then. Oh.
Yeah, I paid.
They timed that one, bro.
I first time buying stuff off of like Card Market and stuff. The second-hand market, I paid a crisp $5 for a Flame Dramon. It's like, ooh, never again.
Ooh.
But
I have no understanding of how like the card market stuff works in the West. I go home once a year, and the locals around me, I live in a pretty small town in South Carolina, but the locals around me, they're kind enough to let me actually use Japanese cards. So what I'll do is when I go home, I'll like take a deck and like fit it for what the English format is then. So basically just like remove like the first or like the current like 2 sets, and I'll just play it like my locals in the States. So I've done it once, and it was kind of nice because nobody knew who I was. Like I wasn't that big. In fact, I'm still not that big, but my channel was almost non-existent when I went back last year. And now like people who are at those locals hit me up in Discord like, hey, weren't you that same guy who was at our Christmas? I'm like, maybe I might have been. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, super nice.
What do you say is one of the biggest differences, like observable from playing in the East versus playing in the West? Would you say?
Ooh, biggest differences? Do you mean like in person or?
I guess approach to the game and deck building. Like when we look at, like as Westerners, when we look at some of like the Eastern stuff, and like back when it's like best of 1 format, just like ride or die every time, we'd say like some of these decks are just built like you can hear the protagonist music in the background as you draw the exact one of you need. Like there is no consistency in some of the lists we were looking at, but like when you actually like play seriously and as the things have changed, if you say there's like noticeable differences between how the East and West approach the game?
This might be because of the group that I hang out with. I live pretty close to Akihabara here in Tokyo.
Okay.
And the group that plays Digimon Akihabara they're really like kind-hearted, really great people. They really love the game, but they're also very serious about it. So
okay.
What's really interesting though is like even when a new person comes up, they'll never just like trash a deck. Like I think that I don't want to cast shade on like an entire half of the globe, but I feel like sometimes the West, like the sweats are a little too sweaty. Do you know what I mean? Like so for example, I told the story a while back, but this guy came to locals and it was his first time ever coming to locals here for Digimon. And I'm playing like Agumon, which is like at that time like a tier 1 deck. And he's learning how to play the game with like a really complicated deck that's like purple yellow Mastimon.
Right.
And basically like Mastimon, you have to have like a big brain, and you kind of have to like think of like a labyrinth, like how to get out of a labyrinth to get to like your boss monster to win the game. And I'm like, there's no way this guy is gonna, like, he's sitting there like trying to like, he's reading his cards in front of me like, okay, what does this one do? What does this one do? I think in some places people just like beat his ass and take the win, but like the guys that I know they'll sit down and they'll like purposefully like drag the game out so the guy learns how to play the game. Because at the end of the day, like the most important thing for, I guess, for the folks that I play with and for us is that more people enjoy and get into the game.
Yeah.
So like how many times have you gone to a local, someone's beating your ass, like, man, that was pretty demoralizing. Don't think I'll do this again. Like that.
Yeah. I played into full power crossheart for the 2 weeks we had it in the West. I was like, all right, cool.
Also, yeah, I do wish that I guess another change or another big difference is I wish that Bandai would not so quickly limit cards. I know that that's pretty big for the folks in the West, because like you guys see like how strong something is looking at like Japan results or like Asia results, and then it comes out and like 2 weeks later it just evaporates off the ban list, right? So people who actually invested in the game, like I've heard multiple stories where people will go in and they'll like pre-buy or like buy singles for cards coming out, and then the cards like 2 weeks later get banned or restricted, and you're like, all that money just evaporates in my
Yeah, it's pretty rough. With I don't think it was Ultimate Cup, but one of our regionals, the global ban list dropped like 2 days before. And it's like, because they announced it with enough time, like, yeah, no, this is in effect. This whole, like, all of our meta testing just out the window.
Oh, I don't want to get too speculative, but the new set BT15 Exceed Apocalypse is coming out in Japan in like 2 weeks. And a lot of people are thinking that another ban list has to come down because the new secret rare in that set, Apocalymon.
Oh my god, that card looks amazing.
He basically lets you deck out your opponent and incredibly fast. It's the bar for him is so low. You get like 3 level 6s into the trash, and or 4 if you can, and then you basically just drop him on the board and you like mill 12 cards off your opponent's deck.
It's insane.
And he also reduces his own cost. And people are like, is there like a rule on the cards that says this can't be used in like tournament play? Is this? So people are starting to speculate that Bandai might make a bit of a restrictionless update within the next, I don't know, month or so.
Yeah, we were hoping that maybe the Resurgence booster is going to be how we get SetCon hit, because we felt like it was due for a while, and then the most recent ban list didn't really do anything. I think it's because in Asia they don't think the deck's as much of a problem as it is in the West. But we're thinking that maybe with the Resurgence booster, I'm hoping NA just tank all of their regionals by everyone running SetCon, because Magna Agimon's just like cheap now, and then the card gets hit.
Fingers crossed. Although I will say, I got every time I feel like SetCon has been, or like control decks, right? No one likes a control deck, and every time I feel like someone like gets a control deck like hit, I feel like another one just kind of pops out. I feel like the ever evolving Hydra. Like I got hit last week with you know what the alliance cards are, like Terriermon,
Oh yeah,
like
yeah,
green, yellow, and Mother D Reaper. So a guy like turn 1 opens Mother D Reaper and just plays a 4-cost Terriermon, and then the next turn he pulls out Mother D Reaper and he hits me for 2 for 19k with a level 4. I was like,
dude,
what happened?
Alliance is so funny.
The rest of the game was like security options, counter digivolves. Have you guys got your hands on the new starter decks yet?
I think they come out in October. Some places have like they did like a demo event where you can get like half the starter deck early. And for BT13 we got the 2 ace cards as box toppers. So we do have access to like the first 2, but until the starter decks, I think the starter decks and BT14 drop on the same day. For us, or relatively close to each other, so we'll have the rest of the BT14 ones relatively soon.
Okay.
I've been testing against Davers though, and I swung once and lost my whole stack to buy whom I'm like, okay.
Painful, yeah. Those ace cards really do a number on control deck. So if you don't like control, I've got bad news for you. Like you're gonna really hate ace cards. But
yeah.
If you do like control, then I've good news for you. You're getting support.
Yeah, Digimon's in an interesting place. I think the Blast Evos are definitely a step in the right direction, but I'll be curious to see if they start doing other things that aren't just necessarily like free Evos during people's turns.
Yeah, like the like you mean like the Blast Digivolve mechanic?
Yeah, like
hey, it's your turn, but thanks.
It'd be cool to see like counter for other things, because like they've clearly like separated them into 2 different things with like the whole timing. So there's definitely wiggle room to do other things with it.
Have you played their game? You ever play the game Battle Spirits?
I haven't. One of my friends has been playing it. I've been like kind of loosely following the scene, but it's not doing too well in the UK. Like a lot of our regionals are like 30 people. It's like, okay.
Like the less about the community, but just more on the mechanics. It feels like and this is just my personal opinion, so I'm not speaking truth or anything, but it feels like over the past 2 sets, the balance director or the balance team or something has changed, where the game, the counter timing is really similar to the counter timing in Battle Spirits. And so my feeling is that maybe someone higher up changed who actually does like balancing, and that was one of the big changes they made when they came in, and that was like to give the game more defensive options in this way.
Okay.
Battle Spirits in Japan is probably one of the like longer running successful games out there. So my assumption is that they said, okay, well, we know that this is like a way to help balance the game and give it longevity, and let's just port that over to Digimon.
Okay, because One Piece also has like decent defensive mechanics, doesn't it? It's like
really,
I think it does. It's when I kind of looked at it loosely, it seemed very similar to Vanguard, like blocking from hand. So like
Yeah.
hand economy is a lot more important than it is in Digimon. But yeah, it might just be that, yeah, we don't really have anything defensive besides block her.
Yeah, or like redirect, but that's super rare. So.
Yeah, true. So how you've said pretty much kind of what got you into Digimon, but like how long have you been creating trading card game content in general?
Trading card game, does that include like mobile games? I guess collectible card games, not.
Yeah, collectible card games included as well.
Okay. So I actually do quite a bit, or I've done quite a bit of work for a mobile game called Shadowverse.
Okay, because they have a physical card game now, don't they?
It just released. It actually released not maybe about a year ago. Years some change here in Japan.
Okay.
And huge release here. Shadowverse has like really strong IP power, especially in Japan. Side Games is a really popular brand here, and the game is super big. They always touted like in the past years, the mobile game had a like $1 million prize pool as their grand prize for like the the World Finals, and I've been doing. In the past, I did content for that quite a bit. Last year, I ran like a series where I get really strong players together and they would play like a really long set, which is pretty rare in card game like content nowadays. And then after that set, we would actually get into a chat together and we'd actually talk about like some of the big change or some of like the most important things about the set, like how the matchups work and things like that. And it was pretty successful. This year, I focused less on it, just to focus more on Digimon content. And unfortunately, my personal life has actually gotten quite a bit busier with work. So I've actually like put Shadowverse stuff on the back burner for now, so I can come back to it maybe next year.
Okay. How long does it roughly take you to make your average Digimon video?
Oh man, that is, I'll say for every, how to say this, anywhere from. I was actually making one just before we started this interview. So, like, I've been so here's my conundrum. I like to like mess around with editing, and so my goal in every time I make a video is like try to do something new or like try to improve in some little way, and most of that is done through editing. And so my editing process is a little bit longer, I think, than most people's. So, for example, if you've seen on my channel, I have like a series that kind of covers like the weekly tournament results for Japan and Asia, and those videos are typically about anywhere from like 7 to 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
That's about 5 hours.
Oh, really?
From start to finish. So like collecting the data, like basically writing the storylines. So if you like, I could just say every week like Shine Greymon is beating everybody's ass. Shine Greymon is beating everybody's ass. But like at some point, like everybody kind of knows that. So like there's like what are the other things that are happening?
Yeah.
So it's like finding those storylines, accumulating all the data, finding some good decks to talk about, and then actually recording and editing. That's about a 5 hour process. Like my friends get really mad because on Sunday I'm unavailable because I'm just doing that all day.
Yeah, that's fair. Do you include stuff like the smaller like weekly like hobby league stuff in your data as well, or is there like a threshold for what makes it into the results calculations?
Yeah, so that's actually a great question. It's one that I actually kind of wish there are questions I wish people would ask, and that's one of them. So in Japan, locals can be anywhere. Like if 2 people show up for a local event, that's a locals, and they'll post up about it, and they're like, hey, this is an event that happened, and to the best of my ability, I weed out stuff like that. So I like try to have like a minimum size of like 4 people at an event, and then from there I basically say, okay, anything higher than that. Also, there's a lot of community events. Like there's an insane amount of community events the past, I don't know, 6 months. The people in the scene have really like stepped up and really like put together like a circuit of events that people can go to even when there's not something official around. And so I try to do my best to cover those as well. And those can be anywhere from like, those are usually like 60 to 100 people. So,
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's interesting because I'm a little bit jealous actually of the West. You guys have these huge regional events where like hundreds of people show up, and in Japan we have a lot of events, but because card shops are so small, not as many people show up.
Okay.
So like if I go to a card shop and like 16 people are there, like that's typically the max the card shop actually allows.
Oh, okay, right.
Because the space is so limited here. Like in Tokyo, like every card shop is like a shoebox. So you're playing against somebody and like you're like shoulder to shoulder. Like, all right, don't look at my hand, man.
Okay, that's that was one of the things like when we've been doing our own like personal data collections, like, oh yeah, you know, Grace and Veemon topped something. It was like, oh, it was a hobby league with 7 people. Cool.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, keep that in mind. One thing that I try to do is like if I can, I try to look for the person who won if they posted up like their lineup, like who do they actually go up against?
Yeah.
Because if like it's hard to find because you have to like look for the person who won on like the store's account and then try to find and hope that they like posted up or retweeted the store's account and then like go back and try to find it there. But yeah, it's a process, and that's why this process takes like 5 hours.
Yeah, understandable. All right. What would you say is the most rewarding thing though about making Digimon content?
I think honestly the most rewarding thing about Digimon content is probably the most rewarding thing about making any content is that you want to get people excited about the things that you're excited about, right? One guy asked me another fantastic question that I wish more people asked. He was like, hey, like if you stopped doing Digimon, or like what would make you stop doing Digimon content? Like, and if you did, like what would you do instead? I was like, you know, about a year and a half ago, now, since I've gotten more serious about doing actual content, my goal that I set for myself was like, if it's not fun, I'm not doing it. Like, if I'm not having fun, like there's no point to this, because I could just do my actual, like, I'm a programmer, so I could just do my job and like I'm set. Like I'm not doing content for money. And I was like, well, if it's not fun, I'm not gonna do it. And also, if the company itself isn't supporting it, I'm not gonna do it either. I think that when I was younger, I thought I had this like really brazen idea that, you know what, it doesn't matter if the company doesn't support their game, as long as the fans support the game, like it'll flourish and it'll keep going. And that's a really rare story. Smash Brothers Melee is probably the only example I could think of at all where a company has completely shunned their audience and the audience like, well, screw you guys, we're just going to do our own thing.
Yeah, but the FGC is just, it's putting in work. But I mean, then on the flip side, you've got Ultimate, which is like 50-50 on, like, they don't have the Nintendo support. They kind of need it, but don't want it. Melee's eternal though. The game will not die.
It feels like it, right? Like that was most of my freshman college year. But yeah, like I've come to the realization that a game will not grow if the company does not want it to grow. And I went to the Pokemon Worlds. A friend of mine got me access to actually go and sit and watch Pokemon Worlds. And I got to be honest, like watching a company fully support their game, you get really jealous.
Yeah.
You're like, what the hell, bro? You walk into an event center and like there's a full-fledged shop you can go to. Everything's organized. Like the event center itself is like really done up really well. The staffing there is great. The event itself is well run. Like they treat the commentators well. They like have good stuff for like just people who want to watch or like come by and just take a look. Again, when I went to World, I was sitting with you might know this guy, Different Fight.
Yeah.
He does a lot of Vanguard stuff. And we both were talking as we were like walking around. We're like, gotta be honest, bro. Coming from another game, you pretty damn jealous of Pokemon Worlds. Like my game could be doing this, but
yeah, that TPCI money goes crazy.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like Digimon, we were at Gen Con this year, but it was only like Digimon was at Gen Con, but the actual competitive event was a webcam event. So you had to, like, if you wanted to go to Gen Con, you could get the Veemon ramen alt-art. But if you wanted to play in the event, you had to just be at home. It's like, what was the point? Like, what are we doing here, Bandai?
Yeah, so like every time I can, I like how can I make an effort to like make the company do better? And one of those is like giving feedback. So I think one of the best ones was when they released that they weren't going to give the Resurgence booster stuff reprints and like the good stuff. For example, it was like the memory boost, they weren't going to do those and some of the other stuff, and people complained.
Yeah,
and rightly so. So like anytime a company will listen to fans' feedback, that's always a good sign for me. And I'm glad that, to Bandai's credit, they actually did that.
Yeah. I don't know how many people actually do.
Well for events though. I think that's
yeah,
that's
like
the point that I wanted to make there.
It's good that they do the questionnaires. I don't know how many people actually actively fill them out. I think the Resurgence Boost is the only like main one I've seen, because everyone's been complaining about online events for a while, especially with all the cheating stuff that's going on, but there's not really been any word on that changing. I think the Resurgence Booster currently is like the only like one and done of like bullying works.
Bullying actually works. Yeah. I think it's a great point. Like, I know that other card games do questionnaires, and I see a lot of the content creators for those games actually promote the fact that, hey, there's a questionnaire out, say something. And like, if you have like a complaint, or you want to see something in the game, or see something change, or you want to say, hey, this is good, keep doing this, that's the place to do it. For Digimon, honestly, I didn't even know that there's an English questionnaire. So
Yeah, I think they used to promote it on the Twitter, like with every set, and it would give you the digital like playmat with the weird dimensions that they had. But yeah, like there's no really incentive. Exactly. I think they did questionnaires for Ultimate Cup, and then nobody was happy about the result of Ultimate Cup because in Japan it's just like normal format, right?
Describe normal format.
For us in the West, it's monocolor. Like you're forced onto monocolor deck building for Ultimate Cup.
For us, that wasn't necessarily the case, but they had something called like the Madonhai, which is basically like all purple. So I guess that's our equivalent.
I think we had that for when Beelzemon Starter Deck came out.
Yeah, that's like the closest. A monocolor.
Yeah. Every Ultimate Cup is monocolor this year. So so if you're whatever color your egg flips, basically, your options in Digimon have to have at least that color. So you can be purple, yellow, purple. Like it doesn't matter, but you can't have any monocolor of a different thing. So X antibody decks can't run the option, for example.
They also can't run Cool Boy.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It didn't stop Black Hole Grey from topping Oceania. Like there was some like promo Black War Grey scuffed build that would just swing like 4 times using jamming on the Greymon, or like BT4 or whatever. Yeah, they ran Black War Grey, and then they would just swing jamming 5 times.
Wow. People out here with the big brains. That's not me.
Yeah, Ultimate Cup was fun for like the first one, then after that people just kind of got bored of it. Like we have a DNA player that was just trying to force Imperial to work. It's like, no, just give up. Just stop playing in this format.
Nah, man, this one ain't for me. Yeah, I get that. I think the most recent one we have here in Japan are called like Tamer Battle EX, where it's just a team event.
Okay.
And the thing is, like, there's no like really like there's no restrictions on like how the teams are made. Like if you have 4 copies of a card in your deck, I can have the same 4 copies. We can all run the same deck if we wanted to. So it was simply just a team event.
Oh.
I think they may change that in the future, but I know like some people actually tried out different variations of that, where like, hey, the team itself can only have like 4 cards. So for example, if I run 2 Death Xmon and I have 2 teammates, they can either run 1 each, or one of them could run like 2 in their deck as well, something like that.
Okay. I think the one I'm attending next month in the UK, it's if someone's running one of the card, nobody else gets it. So it's just like fully entirely separate teams. Ooh. I'm loaning someone my Ruin mode because I'm just like I'm playing Anubis.
That card. You want to talk about something that's gonna shoot up in value? It's that one right there. I don't do money like market stuff at all. I'll leave that to Mario or whatever. But like even in Japan, that's one of the first cards that actually hit like a super high price.
Yeah, I got quite lucky with mine. The guy that pulled it had he wanted to build Alta B, so I was like, we'll trade Alta B for Ruin mode if you want.
Yeah, no problem. I got you. Here you go. Oh, so does like trading actually still happen over there in the UK? It doesn't really happen so much here in Japan anymore. It's kind of unfortunate.
I'd say a lot of it's online in the secondary market, but like a lot of us just bring binders to locals. I think people bring them to regionals because it gives you a chance to like trade with some people, but it really depends on perceived value. I feel like, at least at our local, we're pretty happy to just fling bulk around like it doesn't matter. Someone wants to build something scuffed one week, it's like, yeah, I've got 35 Renamon, why do you need them?
So here you go, you can have it.
Yeah, it's like weird stuff like that. Every so often you'll get like a filth deal because someone's just like, yeah, I just had this for ages and I'm not using it, so you can have it for way less than a European person is going to ask you for, plus shipping.
Dang, all right, that's pretty cool. Yeah, in Japan, it feels like most card shops you can't even trade in. So
like our store doesn't even have like a binder or store credit, but like our store is weird for that. I know other stores like you can at least trade them in and stuff like that, especially in the US, but like our one's just like, nah, it's all between the players.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's...
No, sorry, you can like trade stuff into the stores, but you're only gonna get like money back.
Yeah, we don't even have that.
But even in the store, like when you're in the stores, like it's against the rules to trade cards in the stores.
Is it like part of the gambling laws or something?
No, I think it's just most like if you're in the store and you trade with someone else, like you're probably not gonna buy it from the store, and like they got to turn a profit somehow.
Okay,
So,
that makes
I get
sense.
it. Yeah.
Okay,
But
yeah.
that's kind of like the one aspect of like card games that I miss right now is that I can do everything but like actually trade cards because no one trades cards here in Japan.
Yeah. So do you only have the Japanese product, right? You don't bother with any of the English release?
Yeah, I have only Japanese cards. It's funny that I went to the States and back last year when I went to play my locals, and I was like, oh, I brought my deck, but I completely forgot that I don't have a memory counter. So what I did was I went and bought 2 of I think it's like the EX3 booster packs because in Japan the last card in every booster pack is a memory gauge. It's like half of a memory gauge. So I'm like, fine, I'll just buy 2 and then I'm set, no problem. And in that pack, I pulled the secret rare, what was the Imperial Dramon Dragon Mode.
Oh, nice.
I was like, I can't even use this. I just gave it to one of the guys. Like, he's like, yeah, thanks, man. That's pretty cool. I'm like, yeah, it really has 0 value to me. So
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember the last time I saw a memory gauge in a pack. I think maybe BT5, if that was the last time I saw a memory gauge in it. I know the starter decks always have like, it's not even made of card. It's like a weird like metal one, but it's
yeah.
Yeah, like that's
Actually,
the only way you get one.
Hold on one second. I think I have. Yeah, I actually make it a habit in that when every set comes out, I grab and I just hold on to at least 2 of the memory counters. So I've got one from like every set that's come out so far.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, including some of the starter decks and things like that. So like you see like this is the Huckmon from the Jessamon starter deck. This one's pretty old. This is from the
Mastermon one.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's like I'm not really. It's weird that I play card games because outside of card games, I'm kind of a minimalist. I don't really like stuff, as you can see how empty my room is. But like for some reason, I feel compelled to just like hold on to these. I don't know why.
Yeah, they're definitely cool. One of my friends, I forgot my mat one time, and he just hands me memory counters. It's the starter deck Huckmon one, and then the most recent regionals was also Jessamon, so he hands me the other half as a Jessamon one. I'm like, I'm putting it together, like something's wrong here. What have you done?
That's cool though. Like I don't know. I honestly also wish that the game had more paraphernalia. So one of the things like I think is like that most people do now in Japan is like the area where your eggs hatch onto, they just have like a card. What a lot of people will do is they'll take the old cards from like the really old Digimon game and use those. They'll sleeve them up and put them in like a really big like card loader.
Okay.
And that's where they'll hatch their eggs onto.
Okay.
That as well as just like memory counters, like the actual like pieces. That what people will try to do is there's actually like a secondary market for people who buy and trade and sell the old like what do you call them? I don't know what they're called in English anymore. I've been in Japan too long, but like remember the machines you put like a quarter in and then you like turn the thing and like a little egg comes out and you open the egg and there's a thing in it. What is that called in English?
I mean, most of us in Japan pilled and we still just call it gachapon. But
okay. Yeah,
capsules, I guess, is
capsule toys. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like this is like an entire secondary market for those just for Digimon because people use those as like their memory counter.
Okay.
So I've got a friend who runs like Blue Flare and like his is like the blue virus Greymon.
Okay. That's very cool.
Yeah.
So how long have you been in Japan?
About 10 years now. Just over 10 years. I came back in 2013. I worked at a university for like 2 years out of college, and then I was like, I'm still pretty young, and I think I want to travel, and so I did. That was around the time that Street Fighter 4 was really popular, and people talked about an arcade in Shinjuku that was like the place where all of the good, like the best players in the world played. So like Daigo, Mago, Tokido, Nemo, all those guys would be there, and that was like I wanted to go there. And so when I got off the plane in Japan, I like basically dropped all my stuff and went to that arcade, like dead tired after like 15 hours on a plane. But it was a really cool experience. I was definitely like a starstruck moment. We're like, holy crap, I've seen these guys at tournaments in the States, but Jesus, they're all here like this one place.
Do you think you're gonna make more fighting game content in general, or do you think it'll just be only when like big events like Evo happen and stuff?
I'd like to make more. The biggest limiting factor for me, I have like this. You can't. Well, it's over here on my other screen, but I have an entire like spreadsheet of like video ideas I want to execute on. My biggest limiting factor is time.
Yeah.
If I had more time, I would go ham. I put out one about Evo, about the really cool moment that happened near the finals of Evo in the top 8, and that did crazy numbers. And one of my friends was like, "You should do more of this. Like for every big event that happens, you should just like make one moment like this. It's a short, simple video. You break it down for people who are just like walking by. They don't really know fighting games well, and I think you'd find a lot of success." I'm like, that is really cool. I would love to do that. I just need the time.
Yeah, they take a lot of time. I don't know how Hi-Fi puts them out so consistently.
Yeah, I don't. Does that dude have a job? Like, I'm genuinely curious. Like, what does his 9 to 5 look like? Is he just like on Twitter, like just looking for clips, or what's going on?
I wonder if he is actually like a full-time journalist or something, because it feels like he is always ready.
Does he actually work for Capcom? I don't actually know if he does or not.
Yeah, I have no clue.
Give him an official role yet, but I know he's probably like part of like their creator program. I don't know what all that entails, but he's probably there.
For like content creators, obviously Hi-Fi is the one that comes up for like fighting games, but is there anyone like for TCGs that you watch for either inspiration or just like entertainment to pass the time?
I occasionally will check out some of the who is it? I'll take a look at some of the other like Digimon content creators. I think Avalt is one I take a look at. There's one guy who has really good production value and does like match videos. What is his name? Oh God, Car Protagonist.
Yeah,
Car Protagonist is fantastic stuff. That was one of like the first time I was like, wow, like if you actually put time and effort into the video, like the end result is fantastic. And so I love watching his stuff whenever I get a chance.
Yeah, he's back from military service now, so he should be.
Is he really?
Yeah. I posted I think a couple of hours ago, so hopefully he should be back.
A couple hours ago, bro. You are up to date. Holy crap. That's good to know then. Yeah, because I always liked his channels. And I know people like, oh, those battles are probably scripted. I'm like, that's fine.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's entertainment.
Yeah, at least he scripts them well.
Exactly. Like it's like if you want to watch like something that's fun, like it's definitely there.
Yeah. Would you say there's a gap in like Digimon content creation at the moment?
A gap. I think so, and it's I think that most people gravitate to like some of like the lower hanging fruit. Not to like say that that's a bad thing or not, but like deck profiles, match videos, even the stuff that I do, I feel like it's pretty low hanging. Like the meta reports, market stuff is pretty simple to do. Like it's pretty straightforward. But that only appeals to somebody who's really in the scene. I think the biggest like hole that's left open is for people who like just want to have fun with the game. Like making fun content it's hard because you have to really think outside the box. But I think that's like the biggest gap that there is right now.
Yeah.
Just, like makes it like if you can like have so like how do I explain this? Any sort of content where someone who's watching can kind of have an interest in it and just be a fly on the wall. Like for example, if you've seen the Tolarian College guy,
yeah,
the Magic Professor, I think that's what he's called. He has like a series where he and a couple of friends just kind of get together and play a game, and it's like them just like having a conversation, chatting, messing around, and they're just playing Magic at the same time. I think that it's just fun. Like whether you're like really heavily invested in Magic or you're just like, hey, I maybe play it on the weekends, maybe once or twice a month. I go out to some like local or whatever. I feel like everybody can enjoy that kind of thing, and that's one thing that I think is Digimon is missing right now.
Almost like a sit-down podcast kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Okay.
My buddy Obama actually pitched the idea that me and Different Fight, I should like talk to him and do some sort of like podcast about just card games in general. And I was like, that's great. I just need the time.
Time and motivation when time is available.
Yeah, the motivation I have, I don't have a problem with that. That's like the one skill that I honed over like the past, I don't know, 2 years, and like being able to consistently do something I wish I had that when I was younger. Holy crap, man! If I could just go back in time and just slap the shit out of myself, like just keep doing it.
Become that creature of habit.
Yeah, what is it? This I forget who says this, but like some guy was like, I hate the fact that I have to keep starting over. And the guy who was talking to was like, well, stop quitting. If I could just go back and like tell myself that, it would be so easy now.
All right, I say I've got like three-ish questions left.
Sure.
They're more a little bit fun ones, I guess. What Digimon would you like to see added to the Digimon card game?
What Digimon would I like to see added to the game? I'm gonna be really selfish here. And Tentamon. I harp on the fact that the game right now has over 40 Agumon cards. You can literally look at the game, there's over 40 Agumon cards. But as of the most recent set that's out right now in Japan, not the one that's coming out, because that one actually gives us a Tentamon card. 40 Agumon, remember that, 40. There are 3 Agumon cards.
Oh, 3 Tentos. That's
3 Tentamon cards in the entire game.
That's insane. And there's so many Izzies as well.
Yeah, right? There's a couple of Izzies and like the actual like bug is not there. I'm a big fan of beetles, and so like I don't like green, but I do like I like Grandis just because it's a bug, it's a big beetle, and I like Tentamon because it's a big beetle. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one. I take it your favorite Digimon in the Digimon card game then is by extension Tentamon.
So here's the thing. I don't know about you, but I grew up with Digimon to a really limited extent. Like I watched maybe like the first 2 seasons of the show, and then I just like noped out of there, bro.
Oh, really?
WB was on in the morning, Yu-Gi-Oh was coming on, Pokemon was coming on. Like, like after that, also like I think that they didn't really support that show for very long on TV, at least not where I was living anyway. But I actually, it's funny when people come to me now, they're like, remember when this happened and this happened? I'm like, no, I don't. I don't at all. Like, I know so little about the Digimon lore that pretty much every card archetype that comes out is like shiny and new to me.
Okay.
And like right now, probably my favorite, it might be Machine Dramon. I really like Machine Dramon a lot. What a really cool concept and design. Not only like in the game, but also like the actual like monster itself.
Okay. Yeah, I did not play the games that he's from, so I have like no attachment to him or like Rena and Ulforce or anything. So it's just like, I see that thing that refuses to die and keeps killing my tamers. We made a joke in our scene is like, you, especially because Alphamon's not being played basically, is like, you never sit across from an opponent, see them flip Doraemon and expect them to use it responsibly. You're about to have the worst 45 minutes plus 5 overtime of your life.
Oh, what about you?
For me, like I've always grown, like Veemon was my boy. He just drags him in. And I'd like to see a Flame Dramon that does something because like he's the worst armor right now.
Yeah. He's not really doing a whole lot, eh?
Yeah, I don't think there's any like obscure Digimon picks. I think unfortunately I am stuck with the Noodle Boy. I'm a big fan of Veemon.
Protagonist power. That means you're definitely gonna get a couple copies of him in every couple sets or so.
Yeah, I've become more and more attached to Anubismon and Jellymon through the game. Like I haven't watched Ghost Game yet, so I don't really know much about like the actual Jellymon 9, but I really like their design. But like Anubismon has become like
I bet
my spirit animal of a card. Big fan.
Dang.
But I guess the last one, it's if you could ban to 1 and completely ban a card in the Digimon game, what would it be?
All right, so which one do I have to do first?
Let's go with
put me in the right headspace.
Unban.
Unban?
Yeah.
Saber Huckmon. No doubts about it. He's
okay. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, like, Jesmon players aren't even running him right now in GX Turbo. It's insane.
He's like it.
Okay,
like
limit to 1 then.
Limit to 1? There are so many targets here, and I think I'm gonna go. Can I cheat a little bit? Can I?
Yeah, go on.
Can I ban to 1 a class of card? So, for example, right now you guys don't have these yet, but the training cards.
Oh, okay, yeah, kill them.
Incredibly problematic.
Yeah.
It turns out when you give the ability to spend 2 memory to put my opponent to put me from finish up my turn and put me from 1 to give my opponent 1. let me search out 2 cards and grab any card of that color, and then after that, get the refund back for the 2 memory. Kind of strong.
Yeah.
And I posited this on Twitter. It's something that's kind of been crossing my mind the past like 2 weeks, and that if we limited each one of the training cards to 1, I think it takes out all the problematic OTKs. So Shine Greymon gets hit, Mirage Gaogamon gets hit, to some degree Agumon gets hit, Lugamon gets hit for sure, Anubismon gets hit a little bit as well. Sorry. But there's some pretty problematic training cards that really might be a little busted in my opinion.
Okay, yeah, I can vibe with that. Since the next regional is like right before BT14, like technically they'll have it, but there was like a poll, it's like, oh, do you want BT14? And I was like, no, I do not want to play against trainings. Leave me alone.
Yeah, the unfortunate part is that if that were to happen, it would be the same case as that's happened before. You'd probably piss the players off again and like, hey, these cards were out in Japan for a while, and now that you have access to them, it's week 2, so they're limited to 1 now.
Yeah.
So, I feel like I can't win with that kind of with that opinion, but honestly, in my heart of hearts, I feel like that should be the case.
Yeah, I think trainings probably should have been the box office of BT13 instead of the ace cards.
Yeah, that would have been nice. That'd actually been way better.
I mean, I would have just liked to see like the Skull Nightmon and all that promo cards actually, because we don't get those till January.
Seriously?
Yeah. It's
Holy
rough.
crap.
Like, so EX5 is beating my ass because I'm building Grace Novamon and then I need 4 of the Skull Nightmon promo for Bagra. So just like, I'm cooked next year.
Bagra supremacy. I respect it. You pick up the mantle where I put it down, because I tried to use that deck for so long and I'm like, I can't do it.
Yeah, I used it at the last regionals, got top 100, but now we're mucking around with a build. It's pure cope. There's no Skull Nightmon promo, so we're running Shoutmon King mode as a red source and then Lightning Joust just to make up for it. Because the idea is, instead of playing Skull Nightmon, having it die and free playing a U, you might as well just Digicross free play the U, and then you have a red source. I mean, you can also play Taiki, which is like realistically the second best tamer in the deck. And then you can just play Lightning Joust for 1 and just have it yeet into something. Darkness Bagramon doing Lightning Joust, swing 17k is very funny.
People are like, what just happened to me? Oh yeah, I love Bagra Army, but I kept all my Darkness Bagramons in hopes that one day they make like really good support for the deck, but it's not happening soon, I feel like.
Apocalymon low key. Apocalymon low key. You can just load the Bagra, see their entire hand, or squish a board.
No, he just gonna deck you out, trust me. Like there's some guys, I don't know, there's some guys in Japanese, I think the name of their channel, it translates to like the File Island guys.
Okay.
And they post up like videos like trying out the decks, like some of like upcoming sets. And the Apocalymon one was incredible. They played 2 games in the span of what you would assume is like maybe half of one.
Oh wow.
Apocalymon was so like, when you can just discard cards into the trash and like cycle through your deck really quickly, Apocalymon, his like requirement of having 3 level 6 cards is a joke.
Yeah, I've seen people using the Gizmon engine in that as well.
I'm surprised no one's like throwing in some of the Garurumon stuff. Like right now, Garurumon is kind of going crazy. There's 3 different kinds of Garurumon decks, and they're all like tier 1.
Yeah, the Dog Star one I think is the coolest. The Bill Star, yeah, Bill Star top end.
That's probably the strongest one, to be honest, in my opinion. 2 turns just getting murdered, it just feels bad. Want to play another one?
All right, I guess overall then, I guess last part of it, what is the card that you would ban from the Digimon card game if you had your way?
Ooh, a card that I would ban from the entire game. Ooh, that's tough, man. All right, let me see. If it was out now, it would probably be Apocalymon. But it's not out now. So having to choose a card that's actually in the game, I can go either one of 2 routes with this. I can either choose a card that everybody wants banned, or I can choose a card from a set that I hate. I think I'll do from a set that I hate. I'm so sorry, Fenrir Lugamon, but you gotta go. Like I'm sick of getting hit and then pulling out like an entire beast, like a zoo of animals, hitting me with those, and then digicrossing or DNA digivolving. into Chimeramon and then doing it all over again with another Fenrir-Lucamon. So sorry, Fenrir-Lucamon, you gotta go.
Yeah, that's pretty good. All right. Yeah, this has been really, really awesome. Thank you for stopping by for us. I'll try and get this edited as soon as possible, and I'll send you the raw dump somehow.
That's fine. Yeah, just like you don't have to send me the whole thing. Just like 10 minutes would be fine.
Okay. Yeah, I can get that sent out, and then we'll have the full article linked on esports.net.
Awesome. Well, thanks, man. I had a lot of fun talking to you.
Yeah. Hopefully we can just hang out in general, time zones allowing. I now have a lot more free time than intended.
Oh. Hopefully things work out. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it'd be cool to do some like cross-region stuff though.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you ever like have any ideas or like you have anything you want to hit me up with, I'm pretty open. So feel free to contact me. Whenever.
Awesome. Likewise. All right. Have a good rest of. I have no idea what time it is there.
Oh, it is 10 p.m. here.
10 p.m.
I'm about to go right to bed. I'm old man status, bro. 11 o'clock hits. I'm like, I can't keep my eyes open. Just.
All right. I got plenty of the day left, but I hope you have a good rest. And thanks again for doing this interview.
No, thanks, man. And thanks for the initial shout out as well. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Anytime.
All right. In that case, take care.
All right.